Send him a second. We'll add him in. All right, we are live. We are live.
Refresh my page.
YouTube. Hey guys. What is happening? Hit that like button and stuff.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. Smash the button.
Smash subscribe and blah blah. I can't even do it. I'm like,
No, come on, you got it. It's within you to be that
douchey.
What's the word you're saying?
Douchey.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can be that douchey.
I could do it. Just turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, at some point in my life, I decided as long as you're like being honest about like your attempts to get people to help you, like smashing like and stuff, I don't find it douchey. It's that weird. I don't know.
No,
there's like a weird.
It's the guys that like,
I don't know. There's something.
I don't know. We were watching this whole string of like influencer or like TikTok people getting their ass kicked from doing shitty stuff. Like just going up and like, at the gym, like laying on somebody at the gym, or this one guy like grabbed this little old lady's dog and went running. Just watching, and they're like, "Oh, smash and subscribe below, blah 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 blah." But then out of nowhere, some good Samaritan just comes and decks them. I was just like really getting into it. I was like, "Get him!" Because people really just think that they can get away with anything and go, "Oh, it's just a TikTok, it's just a prank."
Yeah.
It's not to some people.
Yeah.
And you're about to find out.
Yeah. It's the whole like especially harmful pranks, the prank stuff. Ugh. Yeah. Got a lot of people in the chat talking about the Kamala Khan mentions. I'm really excited. It's so good. I loved seeing Yusuf Khan. he was so good. Okay, sorry. Save it for the cast. Not talking about.
Am I louder? Somebody said I'm louder. I'm usually always louder. But we sound even to me.
My mic was weird this week because I did a bunch of changes of my setup to record all that extra stuff this week. So it's very possible my mic is turned down a little bit. Check. That's probably better. It's kind of hard on the live because I don't have control of your volume separate from my volume. I guess really. You can turn your mic down, but that doesn't really. Yeah.
I don't like to touch anything. I'm like, no.
I'm with you. I think this guy's going to join us, and we're in a bit of a holding pattern. He said 1 sec, so hopefully he'll be here in just a second. All right. Well, my friends, what a Daredevil episode.
Yeah, sorry about the silence, but we're revving to go.
Yeah, we're very revving to go.
And we can't talk about anything yet.
if we start talking now, we'll ruin ourselves for the podcast. So we always try to think of something else to talk about. Oh man.
So it was like 60 degrees here today, a little cloudy.
Gosh, yeah, no, don't talk about it yet.
Nope. J. Scotty, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, we're getting close. This is not Jay Scotty's fault. This was last second we asked him to jump on. Here he is. I'm admitting him, and then I gotta fix the video, and then we're good to go.
Okay.
Boom. We got a Scoots coming in. Move our cameras around a little bit.
There we go.
Scoots.
Hey.
Thank you for joining in last second, man. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No problem. I love a last-minute scramble.
Oh, man, I hate a last-minute scramble. So I appreciate that's about you. All right, let me get these lined up, and we'll go. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Have you get your Audacity
I
equivalents?
think so.
Oh, crap. I went into Zoom instead of Zencaster. It's okay. I can do it. I'm just going to record directly to Zoom and use that video. It will complicate things tonight, but it's easier than starting over now. Okay.
Recording in progress.
All right. Recording in progress.
Okay.
Wait.
We won't forget to do the 1, 2, 3, 4 this time.
There's two of me on the screen. I just realized. I was like lining up the screen, and I had where J Scotty is now. There's two of me instead of J Scotty. Yeah, thanks David for the heads up there. I was distracted. Okay, I'm recording there, and I'm hitting record on Audacity equivalent.
Okay,
I'm recording.
I am recording. Ash, you good?
Yep.
All right. Just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
1, 2, 3,
4.
4. Came in hot.
Sweet. Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we're going to be talking about the second double drop of episodes of Daredevil Born Again. We got episodes 5 and 6. Ooh, the bank heist and the introduction to Muse. Very exciting to talk about it. All that right after this. Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm Ashley Coffin.
And we've got J. Scotty St. Clair in the house. What's going on, J. Scotty?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bud. Thank you very much for scrambling to hop on again. It's been very, very appreciative of that when you've been able to hop on these episodes. Yeah, man. So let's just get right into it. It's late and we got a lot of Daredevil to talk about. I guess let's start with the bank heist. What are you guys' thoughts on the bank heist episode?
I got everything I kind of wanted out of these two episodes, but we can start with the St. Patrick's Day and the fun of all that and all the Irish people. Like, I don't know. I really was really into it.
This felt made for you for whatever reason, Ash. I just
yeah,
really
both episodes were very curated to me. I have a lot of analogies coming up, so.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, had a lot of fun with the Irish accents, Matt busting out his, and then Angie getting to bust out hers. Both of them were pretty good. So
yeah, well, he was Irish on Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
right. Good call.
Loved him in that show. I saw that show after I saw Daredevil, so it was just always really nice to see him on there. I always wanted him to be on it more. Yeah, I loved this first episode. It is, I think, this is, tinfoil hat, like we're trying to assess what hhappened with the changes of Daredevil. I think this is the first episode of the new showrunners and writers when they came in, because it's almost like a new pilot. You didn't need it didn't have anything to do with the other stuff from the previous episodes. It is a pretty self-contained episode, with the exception of just the mention of Luca, and it's just a great, if you've never seen a Daredevil episode before, like, this is a great Daredevil episode, like it's a great introduction to the character. He even talks about where he's from, how he grew up. Like, he goes over all that with Yusuf Khan, and like you get to know him in this way that just introduces you to the character. And I love it. I love it so much. It felt so much like a one-off comic book to me, where you like in between the bigger arcs, sometimes you'll get those little one-offs where it's like, oh, it's just Daredevil stops a bank heist, never puts on the suit. It's just a little fun little episode. And that was what this was. And it was perfect. And Yusuf Khan was amazing. Yeah, I loved this episode. The vibes were all good.
Yeah. I found myself kind of surprised how much from that episode, the bank heist, was included in the trailer. Like, I felt like they leaned heavily, actually across both of these episodes that they paired together, but particularly. And I remember when we did the trailer breakdown, we were talking about, is that Matt in the red mask? And the whole time I was just waiting. I was like, when is he gonna? I noticed he grabbed that mask from the guy and he held on to it. I was like, I know it's coming on. When is it coming on? But it was, a really satisfying action sequence with that one guy in particular, Devlin, I think his name was. You thought he was going to get away, but to see that come up, and it was pretty brutal.
The amount of times I was like, kick his ass, Matt Murdock, throughout this entire episode, which changed to kick his ass Daredevil in the next one, which I just really miss saying. And I think I got the fight sequences I wanted. It looked so good. When he broke his legs backwards, we call it the ostrich. I really was like, here we are, my old friend. Oh, how I've missed you. Like, I was like, okay, this is Daredevil. We're into it.
Yeah. And not to mention the glass, or the breaking
the
of
Jameson
beer
bottle.
Yeah, the Jameson bottle on the face. Ugh. Yeah, it's
kind of reminded me of Jigsaw for a second from Punisher.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, speaking of reminding, doesn't this remind you, what's that Clive Owen movie where they rob the bank? You have the one shill in there who's the girl.
The Inside Man.
Did he pass that diamond off to her and did Matt go get it? Or did he keep that diamond? Because I think I got a little mixed up there.
I got a little mixed up too, because there's a little confusion on the diamond. But yes, it seems like Daredevil somehow switched out the diamonds, but it's very unclear how, because the last thing we saw him do was toss the diamond in the air, and then we see Devlin hand it off to the girl,
The show.
and say, "Give this to Luca," and at that point it's in a little like black wrapper, and then she goes outside and finds a butterscotch candy in it. But it's like, how did Daredevil, if Devlin found the diamond and put it in the little thing and handed it to the girl, at what point did Daredevil make the swap? Like, did he do it outside?
Listen,
did he do it inside?
up close magic has been a constant theme in Marvel, okay?
Sure.
I wonder,
like...
actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if it's I wonder if it was Daredevil pretending to be Devlin in that moment when he passed it off to the girl, like maybe there was I don't know. Yeah, it's tough because all the smoke
have to
was
rewatch
around.
it, but maybe.
Yeah. I have to rewatch it too. I was like, did he throw the diamond? And then I couldn't track what exactly happened there. But it was.
Had we met Angie Kim before this, the detective?
I think she was in episode 1. I think she was there at Cherry's retirement celebration.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I like her.
You're right.
Yeah, she's great.
I was like, you show her some goddamn respect when she shows up on your crime scene. But the joke thing, she's like, I don't know a joke, and then had this adorable little Irish joke full of accents. I was like, what are we doing here? What are we talking? I go, am I offended? No. But no, it was very funny how she was so frazzled and then just came out with this perfect Irish little titty joke. And I was like, what do you, okay. So go ahead, writers, go ahead. Not paying attention.
It was pretty great. It was pretty great.
Yeah, it was so funny.
The joke, and like, that's a pretty risque joke for a Disney Plus show. And it did not, I don't know. This show has not been too, we worried about it with it going from Netflix to here, that it'd get too soft. There wouldn't be enough violence. There wouldn't be enough cursing. Daredevil deciding he's going to be Daredevil in that second episode and saying, fuck it, and just going for it is so I want a fuck it shirt. Like, I just like want a Daredevil just like, all right, whatever. Like, it's so good.
Absolutely.
The overstimulation of the bagpipes is something I didn't think about, like how crazy that would be for someone with heightened hearing, because I like bagpipes are in my soul. I love it, but I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't catch that in the episode that they were highlighting that. But yeah, just like any crowded events and stuff with Daredevil's heightened hearing is always like, how does he sort through all that,
Well, how crazy that episode was supposed to come out last week. 100%, because it was
sure.
the day after St. Patrick's Day. So you can see they're messing around with the schedule for whatever reason they're doing this double episode stuff. Not that I did enjoy watching these back to back, but I'm glazed over because I'm tired. It's like I can't have my cake and eat it too kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's possible this episode was originally the first episode in some version of this writing of the show. This could have been, because of all the introduction stuff. It absolutely could have been an original first episode before they decided to bring Foggy and Karen back and have that death be such a center of the first episode. Like, maybe this was the original first episode to sort of like lead into the fact that Daredevil wasn't still Daredevil or whatever.
Yeah, you could have just had him praying with anything, not Foggy's picture. So that could have just easily been a reshoot or whatever.
Well, yeah, and that was the next episode.
Oh, right.
Oh, it was?
I was wondering if it was that episode or not, because to your point, this episode felt so self-contained. There were none of the other side characters, not even Fisk, showed up. Like, this was purely I was cool with it too, but I think I can understand why they chose this episode to pair with another episode, not given the shorter runtime. And I think you're right on the money, Matt. I think this was originally kind of shot as a pilot, or it was an episode that they just didn't want to scrap because of, it kind of does exist, singularly on its own. There was an opportunity to kind of fit it in there, but more so in the next episode, I think that's where I started to, I don't want to start off too negatively, but I started to feel some of like the editing effects. I was like, okay, I think I feel how they had to cut some things and move some things around to fit the new structure of the show and the revamp.
Interesting. Do you have any examples of that?
Well, the opening sequence, like I think they were trying to go for something effective when you were going back and forth between the conversation Fisk was having and the conversation that Matt and
Cherry?
No, not Cherry, Heather.
Oh yeah, okay.
They were talking about the nature of vigilantes, and she was talking about the book that she wanted to write.
So that did happen in the first episode, right?
No, that's all the second episode.
That was the second episode. It was like the first 10 minutes before you even get the before you even get the title sequence. Yeah.
Easy to remember. The first episode was only at the bank.
Just the bank stuff.
And that's what I loved about it. It starts with him walking to the bank, I believe. He's walking to the bank, talking to his partner about getting a loan, and then it ends with the butterscotch on the desk. Like it's just such a self-contained bank bottle episode that I just love it. I would watch a series of those. Like I loved it so much. I not really like I want them to have this overarching tale, but like as a sort of palate cleanser between this like the Hector Ayala arc and now the Muse arc, it's just such a perfect little palate cleanser. One editing thing that I think was weird, and I don't know if this was originally different or what, but the way that Cherry told Matt about Muse and the blood and the many victims of this serial killer, the way the music hit and the way they framed that scene made it seem like the audience was learning that information for the first time. And the earlier scenes where it's Fisk actually learning the information, it actually is the audience learning the information for the first time, were framed very like clinically. Like it was very like hey boss, this is happening and there's some stuff, and it's this construction worker guy telling him, and it's just very not scary. And I think they should have inverted those somehow, and maybe they originally had those inverted, because the way that scene hits with Matt and Cherry is like, oh my gosh, this is a terrifying, horrible thing happening, but they kind of undercut it by telling you about it at the beginning of the episode. And I think there was something weird with like the way I would have fixed it if I'm rewriting it is he would have been like, tell him the terrible thing. There's something you need to know about these murals, and then cut the scene there. And then later, you find out Matt finds out with the audience, and then that hits harder. You're like, oh gosh, 60 victims, all this stuff. Yeah.
I feel like it was just kind of the last, like we were seeing Matt's last push to being like, well, now what I mean, you didn't say 6, you said 60. I can't not get involved. It was his like dark, like the lights come down, like who wants to be a millionaire? And he's like,
yeah, it's like the trolley problem. On one side is his soul, and the other side, the numbers keep stacking up. And he's like, I just gotta go. Like, I gotta be the devil. I'm sorry.
He's like, did you say 6? And they were like, no, 60. And I'm like, 60, and nobody noticed. Okay.
Well, that's where you really get the sense that Cherry is kind of functioning like the new Foggy, because this episode was also the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got like extensive flashbacks when he's having that prayer where he's holding on to the flyer or the brochure from Foggy's funeral there, the flashbacks to so many extensive sequences from that first episode.
Yeah.
So
we said in the first he was probably going to be like the new Matt. Always needs that like little moral compass, someone to be like, tell me I'm doing it okay, or doing it wrong.
And someone to give him pushback to not go too far, and all that stuff is important, because Matt, that's the thing about Matt, like, and he's watching that in those flashbacks, he's having flashbacks of all the violence he's done lately, and it's just like he's angry at himself. There's all this guilt, and then the guilt over Hector and all this stuff. It just like is piling up on him, and I just love this character. I love it so much, and it is being so well expressed. This idea that like the guilt of doing nothing is like being outweighed by the guilt of doing something, and it's like wherever that seesaw lands, he's either Daredevil or Matt Murdock. Like he will cross that line when he needs to, but he doesn't want to because he truly believes in the law and in nonviolence. But then when violence comes, it's time for violence. Fuck it,
What else? You know what? He got pushed to the end of his ropes.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it so much. And sorry.
I think it's funny. It's like, this is what happens when the lecture's not paying all your bills, Matt. You have to go out and like lawyer and do stuff.
It was weird that they were having a hard time getting a loan because even though they do work for some smaller clients, it seemed like they were doing a lot of other work, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, what's everybody else who works there bringing to the table? Like, what's going on at this firm?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit more from Kristen.
Yeah, I think it's Kirsten, right?
Kirsten, yeah, you're right, Kirsten. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I didn't remember her name.
I would love to get more from that whole part of the story. I just want more from everything. There's not one, and that's the sign of a balanced show. Like every part of the story, I want more of. There's no part of the story that I wouldn't want them to flesh out more and give me more of.
Yeah. I bring this up and tread lightly, but did you feel that now that we're back on the bank episode and the subject of the loan, did you get any echoes of Sam's loan request sequence from Falcon and the Winter Soldier? But this was kind of the antithesis, even though it was a no. He was like, at least that's the nicest no I've ever gotten.
Yeah,
for sure. I did not think of that, but yeah, that's funny. And
they were just so different.
Yeah, the very, very different scenes.
For sure. But still, a hero being told no.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I do love the way like he explains things. I'd be like, I'll give you some money. The bank's not. Do you want like $20? I don't know. You just said that really nice.
Yeah. You want $20?
You want like 20 for your cause? All right, let's jump to 2 whenever you're ready.
I do want to talk about thinking about Yusuf and Matt together again when they're there in front of the safe. Getting that little sequence where we got to see the inside and the mechanisms of the lock, and I thought that was a great showcasing of Matt's powers, like his enhanced hearing. We haven't gotten a lot of that in this show.
Completely agree. Like I've thought, we've seen him use it in so many ways, and he's constantly using it to listen to heartbeats, but using that same radar sense to be like, oh, I can do this. This is no problem. And I'm Safecracker Matt is just like pretty great.
If I was Yusuf, I would have been asking so many more questions. I would have been like, what did you say? What's going on here? Wait, how did you just do that? How? Okay.
He's a really good
Stop
lawyer.
Asking you questions. I know, and he said it. I was like, he said the thing. He said the thing.
Yep. I get that reference. Okay, I'm just running over my notes for episode 1. So if anybody has anything else for episode 1, hop in. I'm just gonna make sure. Speaking of Yusuf, I just thought my partner who has not seen any of Miss Marvel was just like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
Just the doting father, and like him having the Funko Pop of Miss Marvel, a custom Funko Pop of her, like just so much fun. And he'd be like, oh yeah, we have our own superhero, and like being like so like a fanboy for his daughter, but he can't tell anyone it's his daughter, but he's like, oh yeah, we have a superhero. I have my own Funko Pop. It was just so good, and it just made me want more of that family and those characters. Also, they mentioned
we're gonna get dinner.
Yeah, for
yes,
sure.
I really hope so, and maybe Jennifer Walters will visit, and they'll all go to dinner.
That's gonna be a little awkward.
Why?
Just a little bit.
Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk?
Yeah.
Matt's got this new piece and he didn't even call her.
Well,
I wouldn't want to be around Matt's ex-girlfriend She-Hulk. Let's just put it that way.
Well, he didn't even. What do you mean he didn't even call her? This has been.
We don't know what happened.
They might be fine.
Maybe.
It's been like 7 years or something. No, not since She-Hulk. She-Hulk's been like what, 3 or 4 years, something like that.
Something like that.
They were just at a cookout together, and then they're gonna go to the. Oh no! I'd be like, I'm not going. Your ex-girlfriend's who?
Well, some people can relate with their exes just fine.
I'd be very scared of She-Hulk. Let's just put that.
Sure.
The She-Hulk of it all is what I'm talking about.
It would be actually that would be a really fun thing to see, is like Matt's ex She-Hulk comes to town and like has to deal with his new girlfriend being like, this is your ex, and he's like, yeah, we
she's
met
a really good lawyer
doing a case. She's a really good lawyer. That's good. Also,
I like it.
Yusuf mentioned that Kamala was in California visiting friends, and I have got to think that's superhero related. We have seen on a lot of the marketing and stuff for something that they're going to do in the future with all these either young Avengers or champions, whatever they're going to call them. We're seeing all these little vignettes at like Disney World, or what is it? Disney World, a Disney cruise or something like that. Some superhero cruise had pictures of them hanging out. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
That's
I had heard about that.
We talked about it on one of the news episodes. It was like at almost like a Disney pop-up type scenario or something, where they had like a Marvel setting, and there was on the wall, it was like a video of I believe it was Ironheart and was it Kate Bishop, and maybe anyway, it was some of the Young Avengers. I'm forgetting right now who it was.
That's fun.
But yeah,
okay.
So they're building towards something, and they've like talked about it, but we just don't know. We still don't know where that's going to end up. And like I got to imagine this visiting in California has something to do with the superheroing. And I think
Cassie Lang is based in San Francisco,
Yeah,
so maybe she's trying to recruit some Cassie Lang.
Good call. And she's not involved in that necessarily, but was She-Hulk in California? Was she in LA? Yeah. So there's a number of superheroes on the left on the West Coast that could be cool to interface with for sure. Okay. Tell me a joke. Sorry. I just thought also that the heist was done really well. You mentioned it, Ash. Like the Irish accents gave it a lot of character, just because Irish accents are fun.
I loved the bad guy. I was like, "Do you get a drink after this?" I mean,
yeah.
If you get
well, he even tells her like, "We'd probably be having a drink together today."
Oh.
And there's all this just. They're just fun. Like when he asked her to tell him the joke, and if you make me laugh, I'll give you 3 more. Like all that stuff it just felt like a really good bank heist in any movie. This did not have to be a Daredevil movie, and I would have enjoyed the bank heist. Like just the heisters themselves were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Devlin, we've seen before, I think it was episode 2, when there was that security checkpoint with the 2 truckers that kind of went awry, where they were supposed to, just comply, and the one guy spoke up and they both ended up getting shot. I think that was Devlin was the perpetrator there.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I feel like they're probably working with velour jumpsuit guys, and
Luca,
they're gonna like go up against Fisk, because Fisk is learning. It kind of sucks to be the mayor, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Yeah. Poor What's-his face is getting the brunt of all that.
Yeah. Well, and we got that pressure coming from the underworld saying like, "Old man, you're done." This is all episode 2 stuff.
Oh, right.
I was like, "Oh, he's gonna shove something up your ass," and then he didn't do it, and I was like, "Damn it!"
Waiting to see what he was gonna do with that pen.
Oh, I know.
I thought
I was like, "It's not big enough."
We'll get to all that after the break, because we're about to take a break before episode 2. Last 2 things I've got. I loved the line, "Do I look like a sanctimonious twat looking out for the visually impaired?" Oh, it's so good. And then,
like you kind of do, because you're Irish and you got that Irish guilt. We all have it, which is why you didn't shoot him.
And the hilarity of asking that of a blind man.
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do I look? That's funny. Yeah. There's a parallel line I really liked where Devlin says, "Let them think they're in control," talking about the police, and then a little later, Daredevil is down with Yusuf. He's like, "We got to let them think they're in control," and it's just like this sort of, I don't know, Russian nesting doll of like people subverting each other's control, and I just thought that was a lot of fun. All right,
definitely.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk all about episode 2 when we get back after this. Now for you guys on YouTube, we're going to do right into it. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, if you hit @StrandedPanda in the chat, it will highlight your message if you have like a thought you want us to read on the cast at the end. So yeah, please do that if you're on the live chat.
And if you haven't hit like, go ahead and hit the like button.
Hit that like button. Smash it. All right. Welcome back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Episode 2. Well, I keep saying episode 1 and 2, but they're episode 5 and 6. Episode 6 of Daredevil Born Again. This is the Fisk episode where we find out kind of the MO of Muse.
Excessive force.
Oh, what do you mean?
That was the title of the episode.
Oh, excessive.
We
force.
had this whole thing where like, who cares about the title?
Yeah,
Let's
right
just
before
jump
you
in.
fair enough. Fair enough.
We didn't even look them up.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Thank you. No, but thank you for bringing actual knowledge to the podcast there.
Yeah, we're
Me and
just
Ash are
flying, but we're just having fun.
we could look it up, but we're running behind. Let's just go. I had some interruptions happen, and I was like 20 minutes late getting done with the episodes than I normally would have been. Okay, so we open this episode with the swordsman fighting, which Jack Duquesne, I believe.
Mr. Jack,
right.
little necktie. I love him.
I love him so much from Hawkeye, and I'm so happy to see him back. We were talking about it a little bit before the break, but like that criminal comes to Fisk, and he's like, you old man, you're done. Stay out of my world," kind of thing. And then immediately after that, he goes to these rich people, and they're also telling him like, "No, we control you. Like, sure, you have a seat at the table, but we decide who eats." Like, it was.
Well, he can't do anything about them. He's gonna kill those other guys. Like, he's like, "Okay, you owe me more money. I'm gonna take you out," but he can't do it to those rich people, which is why I loved it, because I do feel like they are gonna still give him the money for whatever it is, but the power that they have. Like Vanessa, I think what she was saying, she was a little wrong. She was like, "Oh, they just like to feel that they have the power, and then, they might like side with you or this and that," but they really dug into him, and I kind of like it. But I still think that he's going to get his little bayfront property or whatever the hell he's doing down there.
She knows that they want to see him kowtow to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they want him, and he did. He like just took it, just took it and took it.
You just got it.
And I almost expected, I almost expected his rage that we have seen so many times in the original Daredevil series bubble over, and I thought he'd already built so much rage from that criminal coming to see him, and now I was wondering if the rage would bubble over and he was going to do something terrible at this party. You know what I mean? Or like
grab that blonde woman by her neck. "What you say to me?" I was like, you better get out of his face. But she was reading him like a library card.
Or at least like get real verbally abusive to these rich people to the point that like, but then that would make him look even better to the people, the citizens. So I was thinking we were looking at something like that, but no. He took it, and then he took it all from the rich people. He took it all from the criminal. And who did he take it out on? Adam. He
went down there. If he would have put Susu Studio on and been like, "Hey Paul," I wouldn't have been surprised, because I was like, he's about to go American Psycho on his ass.
Yeah.
But no, I would he tried to put his little coat on. He had his thing, and Vanessa's like, "You look great, babe. We'll just get you new coats." And in his mind, he's like, "Oh no, I have some cardio to do later."
Yeah.
And I know exactly how I'm going to get all this out. But what if Echo actually ended up just making it so he could control his rage enough that he can get through social interactions and then just compartmentalize it and be like, "This is fine. I'm going to get somebody later, but I can do this now," where before he never would stand for that. So I'm like, Echo, girl, actually, what did you do?
Well, Vanessa told him not to kill Adam, and he said, "I won't. I'm not that man anymore." And I'm wondering if living as this better version of Fisk has finally taken its toll to the point where he couldn't handle it anymore, and he did. That this was him returning to full Kingpin, and this was Matt returning to full Daredevil. The visual cues were all there to be they're both back in the life. Their table truce is over.
He could still say, he came at me with an axe. What if that guy would have ran out the door?
It was
just gone. But he picked up the axe and was like, "I'm gonna get you." No, you run out the door.
And while he's strangling him, he said, "Mine."
Oh, my Vanessa.
So dark, so dark.
Well, to pivot a little bit, and I guess to acknowledge some of the behind the scenes things. And again, we know there were basically two versions of this show at one point. I think everything you're bringing up there, Ashley, about it effectively feels like we've forgotten about Echo at this point. I think that's fair. But it got us to this point where both of our key characters here, Kingpin and Daredevil, are fully back in their element and embracing who they are. But I guess to borrow a line from Matt, or to pull a Matt Murdock and do some therapy and bring it back into the continuity of the show, there, he's not processing, he's bottling. Right. So bottling. And I think the thing I'm really appreciating about Vincent D'Onofrio's performance, where I think in previous seasons in the Netflix version of the show, it was that rage. We were seeing so much of that rage. This feels like a little bit different. This feels like he's tapping into almost like a unhinged kind of like nervousness with the laughing. Like I really feel like this is the most he's borrowed from his Gomer Pyle performance from Full Metal Jacket between
Oh
last
yeah.
week's episode with the hilarious we built this city and just his reaction to that kind of just the like smile but like the wild look in his eyes.
Totally. I see that.
And I'm loving it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
It's awesome. That's awesome.
Next we're gonna be like sugar water. Get me some
He's
sugar
gonna revisit
water.
all of the hits across the season.
I love it. Oh man. So we talked a good bit about this on our first half because it was hard to separate. But we had him start the episode with he's praying, and we got all those flashes of these things that he's feeling all this guilt about, and then his new girlfriend comes in. You pray still, which I thought was a really funny way of asking that. As he says, I stopped a few times, but it always ends up coming back. I always end up coming back to it. And I just think that's interesting. And I wonder, I'm guessing after Foggy, he definitely like left his faith or lost his faith a little bit. And I'm wondering, we know that he went through various different phases before we ever met him, that he like went with when he was out with Elektra and then Stick and all this stuff. And I wonder at what points he like really lost his faith and came back to it.
He
like
always
that.
had his priest. He would always go to the confessionals and he had that guy to just be like, tell me it's okay. And I'll go out and do it again. And the priest is like, we need you like the Boondock Saints. Get out there, kid.
And I liked when she asked like, well, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And she's like, well, you were taken hostage. You were a victim of a crime. He's like, oh, right, that.
Yeah. Well, even Daredevil stuff aside, in the public eye, Matt Murdock has been involved in some crazy shit.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of what's in the public eye, what's not, she is asking him about this book she's trying to write about vigilantes, why we wear the mask, and she's asking for an interview with Daredevil and the Punisher. Daredevil, an interview with Punisher. It's a great idea. It's a very solid idea, he says.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I wonder if he's gonna pull the Batman Forever when he goes and like talks to Nicole Kidman's character like on and off, like I'm Batman and I'm Daredevil, and she's gonna like fall in love with Daredevil, and he's like, but it's really me, and just I love that whole superhero storyline. Yeah, and I'm like, let's do it. But do we trust her? Do we trust her?
I don't have any reason.
I get weird vibes.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. I don't have a reason not to, but I know
I don't trust anybody.
Yeah. We've watching Severance, doing that podcast, and that shows so much duality in so many people that every week someone comes in and they're like, on the podcast is like, okay, this person's got to be a plant, right? They're working for Lumen or whatever. They're working for like they're definitely not on the level, and it's just like maybe, but it's like you just get to the point where you just don't trust anyone in any show.
No, I really don't. I blame Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that I don't trust her. I think that she's going to be a very likely target for Muse, given her connection not only to Daredevil and Matt, but Kingpin.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be, I was saying it last week, but I think she could be also just a target for Kingpin because he's telling her he's eventually, I think, going to end up opening up more than he wants to in those therapy sessions, maybe even letting his rage come out in those therapy sessions or whatever. And then maybe in those therapy sessions, he admits to killing Adam, who knows? And then it's like if she pushes hard enough and he comes out, and then he will just murder her. Like, I don't think he would have any problems murdering her.
He did it with Echo's, her interpreters. Like, he doesn't mess around.
Yeah, anyone that knows his secrets, like, he'll just kill him because they know his secrets. Don't need any other reason.
Then again, him and Vanessa seem to be getting along now, so I'm pretty.
Well,
I'm like,
that's what I was gonna say. I can totally see a scenario where Vanessa's just cool with it.
Yeah.
Like, well, thank you, hun. You helped us for the time that we needed, but we're good now, so you can go away.
Yeah.
Oh. And she, even though she directly asked him not to kill Adam, I can totally see her like approving of it.
I can see her appreciating him like taking the initiative and doing a thing she didn't want, because I think like she's lost a little respect for him because she kind of liked that he was this violent man who did the things that he thought were necessary.
She likes him a little bigger, a little meaner. I was like, yes, Vanessa, you tell your man what you want.
Okay, so I know you're gonna want to talk about this, Ash. Muse, just
Listen,
go for
he
it.
had girls hanging on meat hooks like it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, let's go. Let's go. I like him. I'm into it.
He's
That-
Though
scary.
he's not much of a threat to Daredevil, so I'm interested to see where we're gonna go because Daredevil went in there and kicked his ass. Like he had a good back and forth, but Daredevil could
Yeah.
have killed him. And I'm going,
Oh, yeah.
Matt, it's okay. He killed 60 people. You could do it. But then the girl, and I was like, they took this much blood out of her leg, like not even a pint. I didn't understand why she was dying from that. Was there something
It was hooked
mixed?
to a hose.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He also
Because I thought it had
he
only
also did
just
inject
started.
her with something earlier.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming her heart was slowing because of the injection, maybe. But then he also had a hose hooked, and I think
At
Daredevil
least
went
he
over and
does that,
stopped the
Jesus.
hose from juicing her.
My
essentially.
impression is whatever he like shoved violently into her
Her
was like
vein.
speeding up the process of drawing the blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seemed kind of imperative. Like Matt had that moment where he was in a moment of dilemma. He's like, do I ensure this guy's death, which he seemed very willing to do at that point, or do I save, this young woman? It was almost kind of like, I don't think I was on the episode, but Matt, you brought up like that's kind of what he was faced with Foggy.
I think it was.
Yeah.
One of our listeners actually wrote in and said that was his big art, because I was saying that I didn't one of the things about that first moment of the episode, except for Foggy's death and aftermath, it was kind of the fight was cool but not as character driven in some ways as some of the older stuff, because we don't have these characters rebuilt yet. But somebody was saying like one of the things about that moment is he's choosing to fight Bullseye while Bullseye's trying to run, and he could be going and trying to save Foggy, and Foggy dies. Maybe there's and I definitely think this episode gives really good evidence for the fact that they were meaning for that to feel that way, because in this episode it's the same, like you said, it's the same setup. This person hearing the heartbeat slow, and he's strangling Muse, and he has the chance to stop him for good or tie him up or whatever, and he lets him go so that he can save Ava's life. I think Ava's her name.
I couldn't pull the name.
Yeah. In comics it's Ava. I'm assuming it's the same.
I would have just tied that off onto something and let him keep choking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, he had a chance to pull that thing out of her leg earlier, and he just kind of was looking at it all. I was like, pull it out. What are you doing?
No. Well, the thing that's in her leg was in her, I think, carotid artery or whatever. Is that carotid artery's in the neck, right?
But it's probably better to.
There's a vein in your leg that if you get it nicked,
thrombic or something like that.
Yeah,
I believe
it's the
it
big
is.
one.
Yeah.
The vampires go for that. It's sexy.
Right, you will bleed out and die if you get hit, if you get that well enough. And so I think if he had just yanked it out, she might have bled out anyway. So he went over there and he messed with it. I think he must have like stopped the flow of the hose so that maybe she wasn't actively losing blood anymore. And then maybe because of the loss of blood and the injection, she started to die. Her heart started to stop, and that's when he went over and did the CPR. I was a little confused because I was like, if she's dying because of blood loss, CPR doesn't seem like the thing to do. It doesn't seem
I know. He was like, smack, wake up. And I was like, well, that did it.
Says Fonzie in the jukebox over here.
She wasn't wrong, but she also wasn't right when she was yelling at him in the like. I was like, honey, I think you're a little confused about what lawyers actually do. But what she didn't know is she just gave Daredevil that like mission, the first inkling of like mission. Also, something else for if she went down there and died, him to feel bad about. So I was like, this girl is just ruining Matt Murdock's day.
Yeah, I'm really curious. We know she wants to fight. She was saying like Daredevil's not around. Like no one's coming to help us. We need to stop. Someone needs to take up Hector's mission, and we know that like in comics she does that, and there's that amulet that like we saw in the scene with her. Like I feel like that is gonna come back for sure. She's coming back as White Tiger at some point.
Yeah.
Do you think Matt is going to let her know who he is? Because I feel like of all the characters, she's the most likely, given her connection to her uncle and the role that he played there. I could see him potentially confiding in her, and I think in comics she goes on to become the new White Tiger. So there's the potential there, but I would think the more likely scenario would be is that by confiding in her, it has negative consequences, and that could be what starts Kirsten down the path. Because again, we don't have a lot from Kirsten, but she still had a notable reaction to like, oh, you're prioritizing this kid over me and this firm. At least that was the sense that I got.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Kirsten. I just have a conscience and a soul. Why don't you get out of here?" Just talk to this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's tough. You pairing this with the bank heist episode where because of the things he's doing, even just the good lawyer things he's doing and like helping out people pro bono, like that's putting their law firm at risk, much less if she knew he was going out and running around and vigilanteizing.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't do that because he's already told so many people. I feel like he would have just told Kamala's dad. I was like, Matt, what are we doing here? He wasn't even like walking. Luckily, that guy didn't ask any questions. That was the perfect person to do it in front of. But anybody else would have been like, dude, where's okay. I was like, we need to tighten this up, Matt. Shh.
Yeah. Well, once you see a flirk and your overall curiosity drops dramatically.
That's probably true.
Especially a whole like litter of flirking. Yeah, it's a good call. It's a good call, Scoots. We haven't talked about this new task force. Multiple of this police task force have Punisher tattoos. It looks like they've just picked all the people who are most corrupt, which includes a lot of these Punisher cops, and they are putting them in the hands of Fisk as his personal like vigilante task force with, as he says, like no cameras, no like oversight. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. I almost expected this episode to end like he's there fighting Muse. I almost expected him to be winning against Muse and then the cops to show up to like take him down, and then ended up setting Muse free. But it was a lot to pack into one episode, so I was kind of glad they didn't.
I thought it might have because he did call 911 from his phone, and they were like, 911, what's your emergency? And he hung up. I was like, you can't do that. You can't do that, Matt Murdock. They're going to call you right back. Maybe they did. And he was like, oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
But I thought Fisk's speech was really good to them. Like he was getting everybody going, and he was like, serial killers, we're going to stop them, and we're going to stop the serial killer and the serial killer with our anti-vigilante task force. And I was like, hand up in the back, what? Like, what do you mean they're not the same thing? You said we're stopping a serial killer. I'll just see myself out. Like the two things have nothing to do with each other. And he's 100%. Like, he said serial killer like 600 times. And then he was like, my anti-vigilante task force. And I was like,
right.
What?
Yeah, it'd be one thing if Muse had done some sort of like
vigilantism,
right? Like if he was killing a certain kind of people that he thought were bad or something. You're like, Muse is not a vigilante at all. He's just killing random people. There's two people who just walked up to him to ask him his name, and he murdered them just to put over his mural. Yeah. So I don't think I agree with you completely. I think calling this anti-vigilante task force while setting up to seek out Muse is kind of a silly. And I know that I think that in the comics, Mayor Fisk had an anti-vigilante task force, and this is drawing directly from that, but it's weird to use it in this moment. It feels like it could have been for I thought it was gonna be the swordsman. We saw they opened the episodes on the swordsman, and then he meets Jack Duquesne, and so I was like, oh, they're gonna draw some sort of, the swordsman's gonna do something, and then he's gonna create this task force for that. But no, it's nope. It's kind of weird. Weird. All right, well, see what we got. Were you happy, Ash, with the blood murals? Did it feel?
I did, but of
enough?
course we get into a back and forth in this household about the science behind all that. And we're like, what do you mean you can't get it off? And it was, I don't know. Ken was like, that's not possible. And I was like, who cares? He's like, no. We need to talk about this. And I was like, okay, fine. Tell me why it's not possible.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be possible. The only way, to me, you could make a case for it not being possible is if you did something to like soak it into the actual bricks.
Well,
like
just paint over it.
Right.
Why isn't anyone like just?
Yeah, just paint over it. Yeah,
just paint over it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
But no, they brought it down. They tested it, and the sanitation department was like, "You got a serial killer." I loved when Fisk read the police chief like that. He's like, now that sanitation is telling us that we have a serial killer and not the NYPD, I think we need a change in protocol.
Yeah. I really liked the suits aren't fitting like they used to moment, because we talked about it last week, how him going down into that basement and Adam being chained up and the sausages laying out, how that's like him indulging this sort of other Fisk that he's been refraining from being, and he's indulging
Italian wine
monster.
and delicious pasta.
Yeah.
You can't blame him.
No, of course not, but also violence and, kidnapping and all this stuff. So he's indulging this other Fisk and apparently to the point. He's eating enough meals down there, like or like at least metaphorically, that he's gaining weight and not fitting into suits anymore. I thought that was really a nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does again remind me of the trailer and just how well cut and effective that trailer was, because when I watched that trailer, all of these sequences with Adam versus Fisk, I just assumed it was Frank because of the one sequence we got seeing Frank with a little bit of longer hair and a hatchet.
Me too. Yeah.
So really, really well done, and a great job of misleading certain expectations,
That
and
guy's
ended up
super
paying
blonde,
off super
though.
well. Yeah, but it's certain sequences there. It's the lighting is kind of darker. It's like Fisk is being backlit, so you only see him from behind, and it's really fast, and there's some shaky cams. So in the context of a trailer, it's like, especially when they position it right next to other footage of Frank, it's like, yeah, I think they intentionally misled us.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Scott, did you ever see Spring? Isn't that an A24? And the
Spring.
Evil Dead remake? Isn't that the guy?
I've seen the Evil Dead remake.
Isn't that the guy who reads the book? I have to look up who that actor was who was playing Adam, but I think it's that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to go back. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. The last scene was really wonderful. I loved the parallel fight moments, because this is supposed to be representing, this moment is them going full Daredevil and full Kingpin and killing for the first time that we know of, and Daredevil vigilanteing again for the first time. And like they started with this headbutt, like Daredevil goes in to give a headbutt and Fisk finishes it, and it's really cool cut. It's a really cool cut. It's framed exactly the same. It's really beautiful. And then a second later, Daredevil picks up Muse and throws him on a table, and at the same moment Fisk picks up Adam and slams him into the roof and then onto the table. And it's just sort of them doing these same moves. It's them representing the parallels that are happening in that
very
scene.
Cool.
Really
the
cool.
other cinematography part that was my favorite in both episodes was when Muse heard something out in the train tracks and the train went by, and he goes out and looks, and you can see the reflection of the train, and then Daredevil comes running out. I was like, oh my God, beat his ass, Daredevil.
The way he's running, like you're trying to like make it out, and it sort of slowly comes into focus. Something's moving, and it's just Daredevil running full clip. It was just so cool.
Yeah,
it's Drogon coming in the sun.
It reminded me of that moment in Get Out when it's nighttime, and there's that guy who runs around. And like he kind of like is just running at them, and like, what is going on?
Yeah.
There's just this guy running at me, and
he's beelining at him and peels off at the last second.
Yeah. I love the last line of the episode when Daredevil's Hector died partially because Daredevil wasn't doing Daredevil things, so at least that's what Hector says. Like he says, Daredevil's gone. Like somebody has to fight. Somebody has to protect the streets. Daredevil's not coming back, and Daredevil saves Hector's niece and then says, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really cool moment of just like, yeah, he's back. People keep asking me if I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been nobody I'd be happier to see. They'd be like, why am I bleeding Daredevil? And they just pass out.
All right. Well, really fast. A couple of feedbacks people tagged us in. I still don't trust Heather. I may be wrong, but I'm going on a limb and saying that Heather is Muse. Oh, wow. That was from Josh. Josh says Heather is Muse.
That is okay.
That is interesting.
I'm with you on the first half.
I do think his body type could work for that. Like Muse is a very like undefined body type. The loose shirts and stuff make him like I think that Muse is the guy from the first episode that walked into the book reading. That's what I think. Or second episode, I guess.
I think so too.
I think,
but I like the theory a lot.
Yeah, it's super fun to think about that she is Muse. Like she asks, "Why do we wear masks?"
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
David Brewer says, I really thought we were going to see a new White Tiger appear. I don't think that's too late for that, David.
She's like 14, right? Maybe she'll join Young Avengers or whatever they're going to call that movie. It's Champions or whatever.
Could be.
Especially after this like connection to Yusuf and everything. Like if Daredevil goes and sits down to dinner, what if Daredevil takes Ava to dinner and they meet, and it's like that Nick Fury moment that she had at the end of the Marvels. Like she's like, oh, so you do this? It'd be really cool, man.
we know they're actively shooting a second season. She could pop up there, as a fledgling white tiger.
Don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I told you that. I told you the Mark Garcuccia, friend of the podcast, his brother sent us pictures, or he sent me pictures of them filming outside. Yeah,
of Daredevil.
Yeah,
I thought you meant of Miss Marvel. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, no, of Daredevil. Yes, that is. I think that it's very possible we'll get Daredevil being like a mentor figure for Ava. Dave Brewer also says, does Hector's niece have the white tiger amulet, or did Matt just keep it?
I don't think Matt would have kept that.
There's no way he kept it. That's a family heirloom.
Yeah, he would have at least given it back to his wife, and so I think we will see her with it soon enough. Oh, the last one's from David as well. The scene where Fisk is creating the bad cop task force is straight out of the Mayor Fisk comic run. Cool.
Very cool.
All right. Well, that is our show for tonight. Anybody want to tell? Well, we have a PS5 contest going on. We're giving away a PS5 with 2 Marvel games. Go to strandedpanda.com/PS5. It goes over all the rules and has all the links. Basically, it's just a review. You give us a review or a rating on Spotify or Apple, and you send us a screenshot to strandedpandacontest@gmail.com. All the rules. strandedpanda.com/PS5, and we're giving away a PS5. Our audience isn't that big. Someone's going to win a PS5. It's a really cool thing. If you're
if I comment?
You can't win.
No.
Read the fine print.
Yeah, my husband will be so happy.
And I'll be writing a song again this week. I had a lot of fun with this one this week, as I mentioned on the last episode. So check out that. That's also at strandedpanda.com. You can click on the Indiegogo, the music of the Man Without Fear icon at the top. You guys got anything you want to tell the people about?
Not really. Check me out on Bill and Ashley's Terror Theater if you'd like to know about the movies I've referenced. There's American Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so get into it.
How about you, Jay Scotty?
Yeah, check out Multiverse News, where we talk about the latest and greatest and all of the pop culture, movie, and TV news.
Absolutely. Please come over there. I'm with him every week. So check that out. And we'll be back right here on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast soon. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Boop. All right. I know you got to go, Ash. It's late for you. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like midnight. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
So fucking
I'm fine.
Late. Fuck. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out, YouTube. We love you. Sorry to jump off, but it is very late, and I have to edit this thing for the next 3-4 hours. So, bye. We love you.
Bye. This time next week.
Yes.
Toodles.
Hopefully an hour earlier next week.
Yes. Fuck these double episodes, man.
We're done with them. And now we got
Andor
coming with 3 episodes at a time.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Bye.